Hello, my name's Bianca and I'm here at the yard because finally I'm able to say that the doors are open and you are more than welcome to come in. Now, this evening I just wanted to hop online and do literally a 5-minute shout out because this week is Mental Health Awareness Week. And what that means for us at the yard is that we're talking more than ever about emotional well-being. We're talking more than ever about how it feels, what feelings are, and how we can support each other. So you might be able to hear the music in the background. So my kind of tip one for maybe when you're having a bad day or maybe when you need your mood lifting is go to your favorite music. Sometimes music can help us to have a reason to be laughing, a reason to dance around our bedrooms, but it also sometimes gives us a reason to cry. It's okay to be not okay. And sometimes listening to that music to help you cope with an emotion is a really positive thing. Tonight, I think at the moment we've got a bit of Nirvana on, but we've had ABBA, we've had Queen, so we've had people who have been singing and dancing out loud to those moments when we've listened to Final Fantasy music just to calm and just to give us time to reflect and have that space out. So if you're having a bad day or you just want to remember something, music does that all of the time. So my other thing when I'm thinking about emotional well-being and mental health is to be mindful that 1 in 4 of us at any time can suffer from mental ill health. Now, mental ill health doesn't mean that you're not a good person. It doesn't mean that there's a problem. It doesn't mean anything other than at some particular point, things are not going as well. We know that when people are suffering from bullying, when they're suffering from stress, then at that moment, then some other stuff happens to them and it can trigger depression or anxiety. And this time of year is quite stressful anyway, isn't it? Especially for young people. Exams are happening. We've just come out of lockdown. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of changes. We're wearing masks. We're not wearing masks. There's a lot of things happening, isn't there? So it's mindful to be remembering that some of your friends may be not okay at that moment. So always give a shout out or give a hello to your friends and check in with them. And remember that it's okay to tell people that you're not feeling well. Because tip number 2 is talking to your friends. I know that when I'm feeling a bit down, one of the best things that I can do is have a natter. I like nattering to my mum, but I'm a little bit older now. And sometimes when you're a young person, that can be difficult. So maybe there's a friend who you like hanging out with. Maybe there's a teacher. Maybe there's a youth worker. Maybe there's just someone who, when you walk around the park, you recognise them and just say hello. Saying hello to someone and getting that contagious smile back really does make a world of difference. And the phrase saying a problem shared is a problem halved is a really good saying. It doesn't mean that your problem will go away, but maybe your friend will have a different set of views, will be able to look at it from a different opinion and help you make sense of what can sometimes feel very complicated. So tip 2 is talking. Now, if you don't have anybody to talk to, remember there are organisations in Northampton and nationally that can help. So if you're a young person, we've got organisations like The Lowdown, Service 6, Q Space, Free to Talk, ourselves at Community Courtyard. We've got lots of those. We've also got teachers in schools. If you can't get hold of those, maybe it's out of hours, and you are feeling particularly sad or depressed, or upset or distressed, then you can always phone the Samaritans. Remember that you are never alone, and there is always somebody either at the end of the telephone, or if you are like some of my friends, you are proper PC gurus, then you can always text and email as well. Conversations don't have to happen face to face anymore, do they? They can happen however we want. So tip 1 was listening to some music. Tip 2 is it's time to talk. Yeah, but that can be either talking face to face, talking via text, and also talking by email. There are organisations that can help you. Tip 3. So, in this mental health awareness week, when I'm thinking about my mental health, sometimes I'm mindful, but when I go outside, it really helps. So, I try and walk myself into a better, happier space. Now, I'm really lucky, but I've got a dog, so I can walk my dog. But you don't need a pet to go and have a wander around the streets. But please try and keep safe. So if it's later in the evening, think to yourself, should I be going out now? Maybe a walk in my garden is enough. If you're lucky enough to be near grass, then my next kind of half tip is take your shoes and socks off and walk on the grass barefooted, and then do some jumping. Yeah, jumping up and down and being reconnected to the grass actually triggers all these different hormones, all these kind of different things in your body, and it really does help in terms of shaking off that kind of deep rooted kind of doomy gloomy feeling. So tip 3 is all about being outside. Some people worry that it's raining season now, but you shouldn't worry, because the good thing about the rain is we can always dry off. So my advice is, even if it's rainy outside, if you're feeling down, give yourself at least a 5 to 15-minute walk outside. Even if it's raining, you don't need an umbrella. You can get wet and you can dry off. Hi Laurel. What do you think of my top tips so far? So the top tip 1 was about the music that we listen to. Top tip 2 was about speaking to people. Top tip 3 is about walking outside. My top tip number 4, in terms of thinking about our mental health this week, is around the food and drink that we put into our bodies. Now, I'm really bad at this, and I know that Laurel can confirm, but I don't drink enough water, and sometimes I'm drinking maybe too many cups of tea or coffee. Now, I know a lot of young people that we work with here at Community Courtyard really love their energy drinks. They love their cans of Monster or Red Bull or Coca-Cola. So my top tip is if you're a bit of a drinker, keep off the booze. And if you're a caffeine kind of adrenaline junkie, try and reduce your caffeine intake. Yeah, because it's great getting those great big highs, but sometimes when you're taking a lot of caffeine in, the lows are particularly gruesome. So replace the caffeine with some caffeine-free tea, or some green tea, some chamomile tea, or the plain old-fashioned water. But remember, water is really, really good for you. And when you get up in the morning, you could even try, if you're feeling brave, boiling that kettle, getting a slice of lemons or some honey, sticking it in a cup, adding the boiling water, wait till it's cooled down a bit, then have your sip, because warm water is a really good way to kind of get yourself going in the morning. Tip number 5. When we're feeling particularly sad or fed up or depressed or anxious, or our emotional health is playing us up, then one of the important things is around our sleep. Sometimes we sleep too much. Sometimes we don't sleep enough. So my top tip is trying to regulate our sleep. Only go to bed when you're tired. Yeah? Unplug your phone. Don't have it right near you. Yeah? Give yourself that time off from all of social media and checking. Maybe just before you go to bed, try and get yourself into a different routine. If you're someone who struggles with sleeping, maybe think to yourself, what's my routine? Try not to have any caffeine type drinks after 6 o'clock in the evening. Try not to eat after 7 o'clock in the evening. And then think about how you're winding down. Remember that actually it's good to give yourself a whole hour of preparing to go to bed. So some tips might be, some people really like to read a book. Some people like to listen to audiobooks. Some people like to do some colouring. I've got a face mask, so I've got proper darkness when I go to bed. But make sure that you've given yourself that really calm thing. If nice smells help you sleep, Maybe have a scented candle just before you go to sleep. Remember, blow it out though before you go to bed. You don't want to set yourself on fire. That's going to help nobody. But you can have lavender sprays that can go on your pillow that can help you. But it's all about taking that time out to proper relax. Generally speaking, we need around 8 hours quality sleep to be feeling refreshed in the morning. So if you're a early bird, make sure that you're planning ahead and you're giving yourself enough time to have a good night's sleep. Don't have any drinks just before you go to sleep, just in case that's going to disrupt your sleep and mean getting up in the middle of the night to go toilet. But always have a glass of water by your bedside table, just in case you need to have that refreshment during the evening. Okay, so that is one of my other top tips. Remembering that sleep really, really matters. The next thing that I want to give you a top tip about is I'm often saying to people that they're awesome and they're brilliant. So I'm asking you how many times you might say that to yourself. If the only thing that you're saying to yourself is, you know what, I don't matter or I'm not very good, then actually that goes into your brain and we're always listening and hearing the subliminal messages. So remember to give yourself permission to tell yourself that you're fab. You got through today and blimmin' heck, that was a really good achievement. So remember to reward yourself for all the small things that you did. Some days just getting out of bed and having a conversation are real successes. There's a really good saying that says comparison is the thief of joy. So my other tip for you is don't compare yourself to other people. They're not on your journey. The only person you should compare yourself to is yourself. And even with that comparison, remember that set of circumstances that you find yourself in today are different. So if you're doing better than you were, fantastic. If things are going a little bit worse, never mind. They can always turn around. Have I got another tip for you? You'll be pleased, Laurel, that I have. Oh, thank you, Paul. I'm really glad that you're finding the advice helpful. It's fantastic to hear from you in Romania. I really like Romania. It's a fantastic country. So solidarity, and it's really lovely to connect to you online this evening. So one of my other tips is we've spoken about sleep, we've spoken about music, we've spoken about the words that we put in. But sometimes when our head is full of really negative vibes, a really good thing to do is to write it out. Yeah? You don't have to keep a diary. You don't have to keep what you write, but get it out of your head. Sometimes things feel really overwhelming in here, but when you write it down, you go, oh, I can't believe I was thinking that. Write a letter to yourself, write a letter to somebody else, tell them what you've been up to, tell them what you're feeling, and if you want to post it, fantastic. And if you don't want to post it, that's fine too. But find ways to get what the confusion in your head out into the world. My final tips for this 15-minute little session is this. Whatever you enjoy, if you enjoy gaming, then game. If you enjoy arts and craft, then do some crafting. If you enjoy doing some sport, do some sport. But do something for fun. You don't have to be good at it. Improving your emotional well-being isn't about being brilliant at something. It's about finding something that you really enjoy. You might enjoy it because you meet people who share that interest. You might enjoy it because you're actually really good at it. Or you might enjoy it because of the actual adrenaline that it gives you. But whatever it is, do it because it gives you something. When we do things just for fun, it really does improve our emotional well-being. Now, if there's anything that I've said that you think, you know what, I'd like to know more about that, then we're going to do some other tips tomorrow, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So there'll be another member of the team giving their top tips, and maybe some of those will help you. Oh, okay, amazing tips. Any books? So, what books could I recommend? What I'll do, Paul, in a minute is I'll put a list of books. That would be really cool. So in terms of mindfulness, absolutely. And I'll stick some audio books as well in all different languages. So maybe that will help. I don't know whether English is your preferred language, but absolutely I can do that. But I think one of the things that I like doing, I've got Tyler sitting next to me, looking at me like I'm a little bit peculiar with all these top tips. They're thinking they don't know how I managed to do it. But I like to listen to different things on Netflix, on different music things, and I try to find programs that I've already listened to because it provokes a happy feeling. So it's not always about watching new things, is it? Some people go, have you seen that new program? It's really, really good. But sometimes it's really good to watch things that you've already watched a million trillion times, because when you know something is going to happen and it's positive, your brain allows you to cope with that positive feeling. But there are some really good books there, Paul, so I'm going to send you some tips on some good books. Every Wednesday and Thursday, we've got our tea and toast in the morning. So they always give some good mindfulness, happiness tips. And every time, if you're in Northampton, which sadly, Paul, you're not because you're in Romania, so I'll make sure we do more stuff online. But if you're in Northampton and you're feeling lonely, please get in touch. If you don't have anybody to talk to and you want to speak to somebody, I'm going to put up now, I'm just going to type it in, our work mobile number. I had to remember it then. And I'm also going to put our email. So if you want to email us. So I'm just doing it now. It's shout@communitycourtyard.org. Then you can email us and I can send you some other stuff. I can send you some audio books as well. And maybe that would be helpful. So this has been my top tips for thinking about our emotional well-being. Paul, I'm really glad that you've discovered us too. Have a really fantastic rest of the evening. And I look forward to chatting to you again. Paul, give me an email and I look forward to connecting to you in Romania. That's fantastic stuff. Okay, right. Have a good evening. Stay well. Be safe. And because we've still got COVID here in England, just get an elbow and not a handshake or a hug at the moment. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.